Hey there, Alex here. Welcome to another video here, another episode on Sweet Spot Soul. I want to talk a little today about the Trinity. Okay, the Trinity, and I think that this is just really kind of a fun way to stay balanced. To be honest, when you really recognize what's going on here, and I'm going to also give you a little breath that might help you with that. So I have my little whiteboard here today. I'm just going to draw one triangle. This is not the dimensional triangle. But I do want to share with you the basics of what's going on, okay, in all of creation, from the difference between the non-physical and the physical. Everything that's been being created is beginning with source. Okay, let's just call it source, God source, whatever it is. We're going to call it a source particle, and it has a zero charge to it. It's neutral. Okay, and so in terms of this journey, you would consider this the level of soul. Fifth dimension would be that perfect 0 point. Okay, so that's the 0 point. Also, the eighth dimension is also a 0 point. Okay, there isn't a duality or a movement that's happening through the next part that I'm going to talk about. So we've got a 0 point at the fifth dimension, and we'll say, because it's true, the eighth dimension also is a 0 point, just so you know. Okay, the fifth dimension is at the soul level. The eighth dimension is at the monad level. Okay, that's just interesting. All right, so then we've got here SP VE minus. Okay, so basically let's just call it minus. That's a source particle minus. That would be the female. Actually, the divine feminine. I say female. I shouldn't say female. I'll say feminine. Let's do that right. Feminine. And then we've got the SP source particle VE positive, and that's the masculine. Okay. Well, that's all you need to know. No, just kidding. This is the masculine and the feminine is what starts to create. Source particle has an impulse to create, which is the creative, the feminine, and then ever so slightly after creates the positive, which then creates the movement. So this is actually vibration, sound, and this is light. And so source creates sound and light comes into being. The whole thing itself, this is like the Trinity, all right? Father, Son, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, or child, there's just different ways of seeing things. But if we just look at it totally neutrally here, source particle, 0, feminine and masculine. That is what's going on here, and that's what creates. This is charged, polarized, and that's what makes it move. That's what creates oscillation and movement. And what happens is that this Trinity then also duplicates itself. In a sense, it will create another source particle right here on top, and it duplicates itself this way. And that would be another level of dimension here. And then these interact back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, almost like, and I think I've said this in another diagram. It's almost like you've got the sock. You've got the source particle wants to create a sock. It creates the sock, and then it pulls from the inside and pulls it inside out on the other side. And then it pulls back this way and then this way. And each way it's creating more experience and pulling more of the experience back into itself. So it's going like this all the time. Source, positive, negative, and it's creating and creating and creating. This is your moment to moment to moment creation, and it fractalizes and creates and creates and creates. That's how the creation happens. That's how things are formed at the very basic, most foundational level. And so I like to look at this journey. I know that's a little out there, but it's the truth. Because we're meant to be in the now, to live in the now, not to be doing, looking out here. This is the past. This is our creation from the past. We create in the now. If you recognize you as your own source, in this case, and you're wanting to create, your thought, especially as a divine feminine, right? You're having a thought that you want to create. You verbalize it if you want, or it's just that would be your sound. And it goes out and then it goes into the field, and then the masculine picks up and makes it happen and creates. And it's almost like this. I'm not saying it's your man and woman or anything. I'm just saying this is how the energies work, and they flow and they flow and they create and create and create. And then it's really meant to be an eternal source. So you and your twin are the masculine and feminine of source, in a sense. So you have that soul level at the top, and then you've got the masculine and feminine on the two bottoms. It's locked in. It's locked in. It's who you are. And so when you met and that recognition happened and all that, you locked in, this is how you are as a triad working together. You're sharing the same soul and monad, okay, all levels, but you're sharing that soul. That's where your consciousness, your awareness can reside. And that's what I wanted to talk about. But then we've got the two aspects here in the physical. Okay. And so it created its own two physical in order to create here on the planet. And because it's time for you to move back into soul at this time frame, in this ascension window, you were initiated to ascend back to soul. You're now becoming aware of this duality, and so aware and so in pain from it, and so attracted to it at the same time, and addicted to it, because your soul is calling you home. It's calling you home. It's asking you to come in together and back up into soul. And so it's asking you to collapse the duality and come back up into the 0 point neutrality. So the duality in that polarity is created because of the distortion between the two. But as you clear out the distortion and it comes closer and closer together again, and they merge into one, then the two can become one. So it's the three become two, and then the two become one when you get into that 0 point together. So it's like that in a sense. And so I like to look at it that way. I think it's kind of cool because, and I've been sharing this with a few of my clients, and they're just getting it, where it's like, oh yeah, so I am the one expressing as the two. And when you realize, like, I mean, I keep wanting to share these different concepts so that you can come to a place where, it just pieces together and you get more clicks, in order to, again, it's not to depersonalize too much, but in a way, just to get out of the emotionality of it. And all the stories that we tell ourselves of all of our inadequacies and unworthiness and not lovability and all that stuff, right? I need to control this or whatever. And then all of the opposite that the twin is showing, right? Because they're showing all the opposite stuff. So all of that distortion that's in there, really, when you can take the position of, I'm going to put my awareness here at the top of that triangle, instead of here on me and my crap, or over there on them, on their crap, you can't fix it there. Like, it cannot be fixed there. It has to be on your journey back up. And bringing your awareness to that point. And so when people say, get into soul, get into soul, get into soul. Yes, 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 yes. You want to be in the present moment and not looking at the past and the future and all the distortions and all the things that are going on over here in the moment. No, you don't want to be in that. You don't want to try to control that. No. If you get triggered, yes, you have to deal with that, right? You have to allow the feeling, and you want to bring yourself back to center without denying it. I show this on most of my videos. Feel the feeling, let it pass. Don't go to the mind about it. Don't tell stories about it. Don't charge it up. Why did this happen? Blah, blah, blah. You allow that to dissipate completely. Bring yourself back to that 0 point. And I'm about to give you a breath for that. Bring yourself back to that 0 point. And from that wholeheartedness, from that soul level, then you can say, okay, looking down at the two, from that vantage point, looking down at the two, going, okay, what was that? What was that trying to show that? What was that mirroring to that? Or what was this mirroring to this? What did this trigger? Is there something I'm supposed to understand here? But you're doing it from this standpoint, from the soul standpoint, and allowing for that. You're just in the moment. Am I supposed to learn something to close that gap a little bit more today? What about today? Okay, was there another trigger today? And there's going to be days you have 0 triggers and you're getting better and better and better. And then something happens, and it's supposed to get to the next layer, until it's all alchemized. And then you come into the one. It's beautiful. So I wanted to just leave you with this idea that It's not an idea. It's just a breath. There's different breaths. I'll give you two. And I think I may have done this on another video, but I think it's still super valuable. So if you're in high energy, high emotionality, you've just been triggered or something, and you're spinning out a little bit, and you just can't seem to bring it together. You're dysregulated in that moment. And at this point, you're in the sympathetic nervous system. You're in the fight, flight, freeze, fawn mode. Okay. You want to activate your sympathetic. I'm sorry, you are in the sympathetic. You want to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So you're trying to get a balance going here. And so really more, this is even about the brain, just getting a balance going in the brain because it's going haywire. So getting regulated. And so the 4-7-8 breath is great for that, or a box breath is great for that. So 4-7-8 is 4 seconds in, hold for 7. I'm not going to do the whole thing here. Hold for 7, and then release for 8. Okay, 4, 7, and then 8. And you do this breath at least a couple of minutes, and boom, you're going to be in parasympathetic and calm. Okay, this is how you can allow the feelings, staying out of the mind, just breathe through, let the feelings go through, let them just dissipate out finally, right? Might take longer. That's okay too. You can do a box breath. Okay, so just 4 seconds up, hold for 4, 4 seconds down, hold for 4. Do that. That also works. I like the 4-7-8 better for parasympathetic. If you really don't even have time to focus that much, and you're like, in the middle of something, you can just take a deeper breath than usual into the belly and then into the chest. Just hold for 2 seconds and then let it drop on its own. And then again, belly, chest, hold for 2, and then drop. So just a pause breath. So those are all for balancing the nervous system in that way, the parasympathetic nervous system, getting that online to calm your nerves down and bring the cortisol down, keep the spinning from going crazy, and allow you to just take a breath. Now, no pun intended. Now, if you're looking to really, really sink into soul feeling, this is really important. It's called the Lotus breath, but I'm just going to teach it the way I teach it. I actually use a little... Such a geek. I use this thing from the Heart Math Institute. It's a little clip, you put it on your ear, and it syncs up with this, with an app, and it measures the coherence, your brain heart coherence. It's freaking cute. It's so cool. Anyway, so you breathe with this one. I want you to picture this Trinity. All right. So you can, or you don't have to, but basically it's a 5-second in breath and a 5-second out breath. Just a really beautiful, slow flow. You can imagine it as a flower opening and then a flower closing, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, all through the heart. You're breathing through the heart. So you want to pull up thoughts, loving, loving, loving thoughts, not necessarily of the twin, please, just because that can be charged, fear-based in some way, typically, but certainly anything else. I think I mentioned this on another video. Like, I like to think of my children when I used to nurse them. It was just, I mean, it just brings so much love to my heart. And so that's kind of where I go, but it could be your pet or anything, any like moment that you can just sink right into that feeling through the heart. You go there. So as you'll see, you have to kind of get your brain back in balance before you're going to be able to do this, because you won't have access to loving thoughts when you're spinning out and dysregulated. So get yourself regulated first. Then at another time, you can now do this. And so 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out through the heart, nice and slow. Picture a flower if you want. I like to actually do the triangle. Okay. I like to actually see myself as source. And on my out breath, I'm breathing out into me and my twin as if that is the creation in the 3D of source. And then the in breath, I'm pulling it in back into the heart, back into one in the soul where we're one. Now, I love to do that. It doesn't make me triggered at all. And I can think of the twin and not have that happen. That's going to be different for everyone. So if you have to be really honest about that, but that's kind of how I like to see it. The out breath is the creation in the 3D. The in breath is bringing it back into the 5D, and then the 3D, and then the 5D. Okay. Maybe you find that valuable. Anyways, go give those a try. At least 24 to 48 of those breaths sinks you deep into coherence, and it really starts to build and build and build more of that soul essence and more capacity to handle stresses in your life, and just to allow for more love to start to really sink into the cells and into the atomic nature of your body. We want to unlock the seals that are going to allow us to take on more and more of the codes that we need to activate more of our DNA. And that's what we're really doing on this journey. We're moving up to the next the next harmonic universe. We're moving from the 3D, that lower physical plane, into the semi-etheric soul plane, that triad, that universe there. That's a big jump. And that's why we met our twin in this lifetime, because that's where we're going. So you got this. You got this. All right. Love to get your thoughts. I hope that this is helpful. If you need any help along your journey, I do quantum energy work and helping to balance that whole field out, your different beliefs and so on. So you can, I'm a hacker, so it definitely helps. You can do it on your own. I like to do it with you. So anyways, I hope that this helps you today, and I will see you in the next video.